dog. Woof, woof.
That's my dog, yeah, in the background, yeah. He only barks when you're on the phone.
Oh, don't worry, I have one as well.
Hey everybody, how's it going? We're live finally. We had huge techie issues, but now we're live and we are so excited to come to you on the Biscuit Box this Wednesday, half an hour late. So I am excited to be here today, and this is the first time on the Biscuit Box that we've brought on guests. And these three people are very important. And why they're important this week specifically is because they're all attending ARTSOURCE. And ARTSOURCE, if you're not familiar with it, is Ireland's really top art fair. And it's in the RDS from, I have to look at my calendar, the 9th to the 11th. The girls know this off by heart. Like, from the 9th to the 11th. And I want us to really get a real honest insight into what attending ARTSOURCE is like, the preparation involved in putting a show like this together. And I think it's something that people, and especially people like me, that I don't create work, but I go to ARTSOURCE every year. You don't realize the work that goes into these type of shows. And I have seen firsthand, just working with these guys in the biscuit factory, what this work actually looks like. So I'm excited that these guys are going to share their insight with us. We've Fran Halpin, Karen Hickey, and Jean Lowndes. Jean, am I pronouncing your second name properly, Jean?
Lowndes, yeah.
Yeah, I am. You, okay. I was doing a kind of Lowndes. Shit, is that the right?
I know. No, it's not easy.
Okay. So, and we're missing one factory member, Miriam Fitzgerald Justova. I had to write that one down too. And she can't make the live stream today, but we're going to share her stand and where she is as well. She's a factory member as well. So, okay, we're going to start with Fran Halpin now. And Fran, so just to give you an overview, Fran's going to share her where she's going to be in ARTSOURCE. So if you're going to attend ARTSOURCE at the weekend in the RDS, the girls are going to share their stands with you. So you'll know to write them down and go straight there when you go to ARTSOURCE first before you go anywhere else and say hello. So you're going to get the stand. And Fran's going to tell you a bit about work. We might see one or a few of her pieces that she has around her there. We can see some of it behind her. And this is Fran's first ARTSOURCE. And Fran and Karen, actually, this is their first ARTSOURCE. Jean is a seasoned ARTSOURCE attendee. I don't even know how many years you've been at it, Jean. But Jean will talk about something a little bit different. So, but we're going to dive into Fran now, and Fran's going to tell us all about her stuff and what she has learned over the last few months, I guess, Fran, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm my first year doing ARTSOURCE, and my stand is A17. So when you walk in the door, you turn left and keep going, and you'll kind of find all the biscuits going bam, 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 one after the other. So I think my one might be the first one you hit anyway. So yeah, over this past year, because I was trying to think about, before I come on, I was kind of going, okay, so if you asked me a year ago, what would I be doing this year? And I don't know, like a year ago, I did start thinking I'd love to do ARTSOURCE, but I'm not sure if I'm at that level yet. I wasn't sure if I was good enough yet, and it's a huge responsibility because there's so much work involved, and I had an idea, but I didn't quite know, which is probably a good thing in a way, So about a year ago, I went and I checked out ARTSOURCE to see what it was like. And then, and then I kind of went for it then this year. This time last year, I said, right, that's it. I'm gonna see if I can do a whole career shift from primarily being like a mural artist. I paint murals all over Dublin, all over the country, and I've been all over the world doing that. And then I was like, right, now it's the next phase. Let's see if you can launch a career in a different direction. I hope I'm not babbling on. But so I decided then I'm going to paint something I love. So I just have a fascination with water. I love the sea. I love that kind of the sparkle, the undulation, the little, you know, and then like the waves and stuff like that. Like my last show was really about really, really calm water. And this time for this show, I said, right, I'm going to push myself and do something that I haven't done before, something that scares the bejesus out of me, which was painting a wave, because they're painted all the time, but to capture it and for it to kind of fit, for you to feel something from it, I think it needs an extra bit of something, into it. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do that. So that's why I kind of avoided it. And then anyway, I started this.
And was that for the show? So did you decide that because of ArtSource, that right, I'm going to push my skill for this event? So I guess when you're, even for other creative people, when you're thinking about doing a show like that, it does make you work that bit harder on your scale, because you're presenting it to such a wider audience, doesn't it? Like,
most definitely, yeah.
And what did you? What was your what was the biggest struggle for the? What was it? Was it you pushing your skill to another level?
Yeah, partly that, and partly, finding the time, because you have your real life going on as well in the background. So you have all your different hats that you wear, for those of us who have like a young family as well. And then also, let's get practical about it. You have to pay the bills as well. And like my work is so incredibly detailed that I won't have as many pieces as someone else, that can get their work done maybe a little bit faster. So it was the time issue was really the biggest thing for me. And
how long did you give yourself for the prep for ArtSource? And would you recommend, or if when you're doing it next year, will you give yourself more time?
Yeah, I think you do need a lot of time, no matter what you're doing, because if you have a day job as well, you might only have the weekends or nighttime or whatever. Now, I was lucky enough, I can work 5 days a week, and I've been doing weekends as well. So I've basically been doing like 6 days a week, but it's on your mind 7 days a week, But yeah, I think you'd want about, for me personally, I'd need about 8 months maybe. But I did start, I had from my solo show in June, I had a couple of pieces left. Now I sold most of it, but I just thought, okay, I still have enough that maybe I can add those to whatever I get. And whatever I get then for ArtSource will be enough. And I've been lucky enough to find enough time to actually paint, so I do have enough. But yeah, you do need to have extra, I'd say you'd want to allow about, I'd be thinking about it now for next year, and kind of starting to plan a little bit. And
I'm a big believer in planning, Fran. I'm always on about
get the list going, get that scrum board going.
But I think it's important, and I guess just because it's your first ArtSource, and I remember the conversation we had a year ago when you said to me, yeah, I'd love to do ArtSource, and now you're doing it, and I think that's so inspirational.
And it is that kind of thing that it's this time last year, as I asked my husband this morning, I was sitting kind of trying to get myself ready, and I was going, Jesus, how am I going to answer this question? What would, what's that? And he just said, actually, this time last year, it was just a dream.
Yes.
And I'm like, yay, now I'm doing it, It
was. And Karen as well. I remember the two of you going, oh yeah, that's way, I'm not ready. That's way down the line. And now you're doing it, like, oh my God, that's just...
I think you kind of need to, it's like you told me before I booked my exhibition, you said you need to work backwards. Book it and then work backwards, So I kind of said, right, I'm going to be brave, and I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And just sometimes that's all the push you need. You have that, but I would also say that you do really need a good support system behind you. And I don't know if I would have done this if I hadn't been in, the Biscuit community, but specifically the factory has just, to have like you, obviously, because you're just, you're the brain. You're the brain behind it with the ideas, and they're like, do it. Having that support is really important. It's been really, really valuable,
Great to hear that. Oh, yay!
Yeah. Staying in the factory forever.
Is there a forever rate, Tara?
Yeah, that's a forever rate. There should be, yeah.
Product number 50 million. No, but that's great, Fran. And I think just for younger artists coming up, or not as in age, but young in their work or their practice, it just shows you feel the fear and do it anyway, and just work backwards. You're right, like, book something, work backwards, and but if you get booked, you can't really back off. Like,
you can't chicken out.
You can't chicken out, and surround yourself with like-minded people and a support network. It's hugely important. Fran, if just before we go, because I want to go to talk to Karen and Jean, if you first of all, if you want to show off a bit of your work, so for anyone
every single piece I have is wrapped in cellophane.
It's wrapped.
I kept this one out to show everybody because it's the biggest one, and I have to. The thing I have to wrap it up is actually in the attic.
Okay.
So I just said, right, I wanted to have a nice background to show people everything. I'm sure everybody must be the same. Now I do. Sorry for bending over. I've got a couple of things that I've got. These are my prints. Don't know if you can see those. There's one. And like these are my new kind of wave ones. So they're decent size. They'll all be at it. And that was from
gorgeous. That's
but I have all the originals there as well. But I didn't kind of keep everything out because we're all going to be under pressure to get everything into the car.
Whatever you have. And anyway, there's going to be loads of people running into ARTSOURCE to see your stuff, to see everyone's stuff, and and well done on all the social media activity. All of you have really your game, and I know you're gonna feel it after this weekend, and I'm looking forward to Monday, or you probably all be in bed on Monday fast asleep.
No, I'll be out with the bottle of fizz.
That's right. But you'll be so when we're back in dissecting the whole thing in the factory next week, I'm looking forward to getting all the reports and stuff. So well done, Fran, well done, and thanks for coming in this morning. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Sarah.
Okay. Karen, how's it going, Karen Hickey? I always say your second name, Karen. Jesus, like I can't.
And it's not even. Yeah, it's my married name as well.
It's like you were meant to be a girl. You were meant to be a Hickey.
Must have.
So just like Fran, this is your first ARTSOURCE, and I know it's so exciting, and just like both Jean and Fran as well, that you guys are working so hard. So tell us first your stand and a little bit about your work, Karen.
Okay, so I'm at stand A20, so I'm like 3 or 2 down, whatever, from France. So we're going to be neighbours, and there's a whole little community there. So it's going to be brilliant just to be able to buzz off each other and give each other advice or help each other if we need to go to the loo and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. So I'm in Celbridge, and I work on its portraiture, but not in a conventional sense. I did I learned how to draw proper portraits and life drawing and all, but I suppose my own style evolved over the last few years. So you mostly probably seen my work, and it's very colourful. It's not. I don't set out to, paint the perfect portrait or to have, the most beautiful painting ever. Like I like to paint character, and I like to be very expressionistic in the way that I work. That there's lots of, the stuff going on with that person. They're a bit edgy and they're a bit strange. And I think that's, that makes it a fun element. Plus, I like to kind of tell stories through my work as well. So, it could be a character that I read in a historic novel, or it could be a piece of music, that by Queen, or it could be a character like Eleanor Rigby that the Beatles sang, or something like that. And when you're reading a book and you're reading about a character, you've got an image in your head, and only you can see that image. So I think that's kind of married with my style, which is quite sporadic and a little bit. It's quite, it's not very planned. So it's trying to capture a character.
And I think anytime I think of your work, and you as well, you're really quirky. Like your work is quirky. You're quirky. I think you know, there's so much in your work, and yeah, I love your work, like, and every piece is so different, and it's funny that you don't think you'll get the story from it, but you, especially when you see your work in real. So if you are a fan of Karen's work, you have to go and see it in real. Like it really speaks to you when you're standing in front. That's what I found. I was shocked when I went to your exhibition the last time. Oh my God, like,
Yeah, well, it's just, yeah, I guess so. It's just trying to create, you know, there's nobody's perfect and everyone has a story. So I suppose that's kind of what's behind it. Like it's, you know, somebody's ears don't match, or they're, you know, there's a guy wearing a mad yellow suit. And I like that strangeness. You know, I think it's quite amusing. And I personally find it pretty fascinating. Like I love old photographs and, you know, historical photographs of people, just random, not important people, just normal people. And they're different, or they stand out, but there's a story there. So that's kind of like what I like to portray in the work that I do. So that's kind of the way it goes.
Have you got some samples of your work? I know we can see one of that lady.
Well, she looks really small. She's like that, you know, the near far away thing.
Oh yeah.
She's very big, but I have these two.
Oh yeah, they're great. The two girls.
So, like, you know, two tea ladies, and that's the original. I actually I've had that, but I've sold prints of it, and I think people have connected with it because they're like, oh, that reminds me of my granny or my mother, or that'll be me when I'm older. And, you know, two albiddies sitting there.
I just thought that I'd love to give it to my sister, the two of us drinking tea. You do. That's funny, isn't it?
So just, yeah, it's kind of having a connection, and people, you know, people who've bought from me kind of have had a reason why they bought. You know, it reminds them of something, or the colours remind them, or the person relates to them for some reason, like. So yeah, so that's it.
So what made you decide to do ARTSOURCE?
Yeah, so I think me and you did chat about it last year, and I also talked to Lorna Watkins, and I remember Lorna telling me like the type of outlay you'd need for it, and you know, I just thought, no way could I do that. You know when you're not ready, and then I think you know when you are ready. And I think it was after my exhibition at Signal in Bray that I booked it the week after, because that exhibition went so well. Plus was my first solo, you know, professional exhibition. So I felt confident, and it had gone so well, and you know, a lot of people turned up, and I made good sales. And I think it was literally like a couple of days later, I just booked ARTSOURCE. I just got on the phone and I just booked it, because I knew I was ready. I'd kind of taken steps to get to that point. So I reckoned, right, now's the time. So, and like that with Fran, when you've booked it, you know, there's no turning back. You have to go with it then, and you're committed.
Excuse me, that's a good strategy, isn't it, for anything, for any dream you have, or any, if only I could do it. No, yeah, but just book it, or just put it on it and work backwards. I'd love that.
Exactly, that's right.
And what's the biggest learning, Karen? If you were talking to yourself like 2 years ago, or like, what would you be saying to yourself about this event?
Yeah, it's definitely the planning. I did have some pieces of work already, but I did make quite a lot of new work. Now, I'm probably a lot quicker working than Fran, so I did get through the actual physical work quite quickly. The planning of it, then there's always more than you think. Like what prints are you going to have done, the framing, that big long list. You know, it's a project, so you kind of have to stick on track with that. And I suppose once you have that mapped out, I was able to kind of tick off as I went along. So that was very important. I think the financial end for me was quite tricky. It's handy if you have a ton of money in advance. You know, if you've already got money ready to invest, that's fantastic. I kind of was doing it and taking money from everywhere to pay for the whole thing. And it's grand, like, but I think I was speaking to Lisa Kavanagh as well, and she's thinking of doing it next year. And I was telling her about that. She was saying it might be an idea maybe just to get a little credit union loan to cover your cost. And then you don't have the stress of that. You know, right, well, I've X amount there, and then I can tip into that. Yeah, I think that would be quite, it would just be an organized way to do it if you don't quite have if your funds aren't necessarily there for you.
Yeah.
Because there will be surprises. There's extra stuff that kept coming up,
Like
Fran will
what?
tell you too.
What
Like electrics, and I mean, to be honest, I got a lot of framing done, more than I should have really. So that bill got a bit bigger, and cushions and printing, and it's hard to say no sometimes. And I think I would probably reel back a little bit. I probably I have too much, I'd say, probably. So.
Have another exhibition with any
But that's it. I mean, it's coming up to Christmas, so maybe I'll probably do an online event or something like that.
That's great. Well, I can't wait to see your work again in real time, and I think you've worked so hard, and you're amazing on social media. I remember saying this at the opening of your show, that you're the social media queen. Like, you're brilliant, and Fran as well. Like, you're just on it. Like, are they ever off social media? They're on fire. You're brilliant, and I love it. And you're really putting your brands out there in a very confident way, and I just think it reflects your work, and you guys, so well done on that. And Karen, I can't wait to see you in ARTSOURCE, and good luck with everything. Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Tara. Thank you.
Hey, Jean, how's it going?
Hi, Tara. How are you?
And you're
listen, girls, all the best. I'm so excited for you because it is fantastic, and for Miriam. And I love all of your work as well. I mean, oh my God, I can't wait to see it in real,
That's it. And I think you've definitely hit the nail on the head. It's seeing the work in real, because we all see it on social media all the time. And it's just, as I just said, you can't explain the feeling when you see it in real time. And it's just, I would encourage everybody to go to see work in real life as well, if they've an opportunity. It just makes a lovely experience. So Jean, tell us about you. How many years have you done ARTSOURCE?
Well, I'm not as vintage as you think I am. This is my third. But I feel the first year I did it, I had been ill. I had pneumonia, and I actually shared a stand with my cousin, and we both had a really good show. But I'll be honest, I wouldn't never have done it. Only my cousin said to me, "Will you share a stand?" We were both painting 20 years. I didn't ever expect to be going to ARTSOURCE and being with the big guns, and that's what I felt. And I have to say, it was scary, amazing, and so much so that we both took our own stands last year. And I've done the house show. I've done it twice as well. So I suppose I feel I'm longer doing ARTSOURCE, but this would be my third. But it's such a wonderful show, Tara. Oh my God, it was so exciting. I think last year it was even better. But I'll be honest, if I was doing it, if you're going to do ARTSOURCE, take your own stand, because people said to me, they didn't see me. You weren't here last year, and you have to remember there's 175 artists, and there's a wealth of amazing work, So doing your own stand, and I wish I had the Biscuit background, and I'm so glad to be a Biscuit. And I feel for the girls, I'm learning all the time, but I think the confidence and the Instagram, and they're so professional. I feel I would have benefited from that, but then I didn't know, and I honestly didn't. So I feel that I love painting. I love the work. Mine is thick and pastel, lots of paint. And I do have to plan, because mine is oils, and there's so much paint, it could take up to like 6 months to get a skin on it to actually show it. It takes up to a year for some of my paintings to actually fully dry. So I'm working nearly on next year. You know what I mean? And that's kind of.
So do you have to plan, like, your actual work has to be painted a year before you show? Jeannie Mac,
yeah. So, I have work now that will be drying in the studio that isn't ready. Yeah, but it's just the nature of what I do. Now I have to say the calendar has been an experience, and I'm involved in a charity in Kilkenny, and I contacted Fran because they're hoping to do a calendar, And then I went, oh Jesus, why am I not doing a calendar? So it all kind of happened. So yeah, so I actually physically won't have them till tomorrow. But anyway,
But they're on the
but
way. They're on the way.
yeah, but I do find that if I write a plan, I do plan. I write it and it happens. And it's a bit like you booking ArtSource. When you have it booked and you paid your deposit, that puts a fire under you, girls. Yeah. And listen to your customer. And your work are fantastic. You all have wows, and you need a wow on your stand. Remember, people walking through there, they have to have a reason to stop. So if there's a wow and a big one, like something amazing, and then they look at your little work, and that's really, you know,
That's
I learned
interesting.
that. I
Okay.
learned that. Yeah.
So that's to get them to
Also,
stop at the stand, Jean, isn't it? Like to get them
yeah,
to.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And like when you step into your power, oh, I mean, look, my son said to me the most sweetest thing. He said, Mom, I was so worried about you. And I knew where he was coming from. He was afraid that I would be devastated if it wasn't a good show, my first one. And but I had an amazing time. And what he didn't know was at 50, this was my first show. I kind of went, this is on my bucket list. I don't care. I'm going to do it. But I like, and just take it for the experience. But it was amazing, and I had a really good show, and it gave me the confidence to book the next one.
And
The other thing,
sorry. Go
yeah,
on.
the other thing, just girls, when you've done now, you're going to have an amazing time because I know your work and it's amazing. Um, the other thing an artist said to me, and Jean, where will they see you? Where will they see your work? And I was told, get your bum onto Marion. You have to do Marion. If you're doing ArtSource, where can they buy your work? And that's what I had to learn. And I had to make a deal with the family. Because Sundays are big in my house. Mine are grown up now. I don't have little ones. But so we've swapped Saturday for Sunday. So they can have dinner on a Sunday, but I got a better deal. They look after me on a Sunday, which I love.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Jean, is there anything that you would say to somebody thinking about doing ArtSource, because you've done it for, this is your third year now, is there any kind of maybe one or two bits of advice you could give anybody apart from planning? Because I know the girls were saying planning is important and giving yourself time to put it all together.
Yeah.
That's important. Is there anything on the day that you have found worked for you sales wise?
Well, what I found was, okay, I always did big work. I love the big work. But when I went to Marion, actually, I noticed everybody had a small painting, and they had a painting kind of under the €100, and so I actually painted small paintings for that reason, because if you sell a couple of them and they're your bread and butter, they can make it very interesting. So ArtSource have the €100 painting, and I always take part in that. And the first year I did one for each day because I figured if I sold my first one, I needed another one. So they can make it very interesting and they can help pay for your stand. What I would say is, yeah, I think, little credit union wouldn't be, because it's a bit like I'm a farmer's daughter. You only get a couple of paydays a year and you're out clearing all the time. So you get your money back, and you wouldn't want to go too deep in it. But like Karen has had very successful shows, and then Fran as well. So like when I have a bit of success, I put a bit of money by. You have to plan.
Fine.
And this year I'm doing gifted, which I've really stretched myself, and I understand what Karen is saying, because I feel like it's like my first ArtSource. I have stretched myself, and I don't know what to expect 5 days. But anyway,
great, and you have to push yourself forward, don't you? And I think as you grow as a business owner and as a creative business owner, you have to be always pushing yourself a little bit to do the bigger stuff, to do more exhibitions, to book the next thing, and to keep growing and learning. And the big takeaway, I think, and I'm sure the three of you guys will agree, it's just I can't, like, I suppose this is why I do what I do, and in wherever you find it, surround yourself with people that get you that will support you and that'll not ask you questions, why are you doing that? Like, we'll get what you're trying to do. And I think that has to be the basis of pushing your creative work forward. It's so important. And I love that you guys have all been helping each other and sharing knowledge with each other. Even though a lot of people would say to me, but they're all in competition, they're all selling artwork, aren't they? No, they're not in
It's
competition.
not like that.
No, it's not like
It's not
that.
like
That's an old way
no.
of looking at it.
We're
I
all
think
different.
everyone
Yeah.
work exactly, but I think the underlying and the power of what we do in the Biscuit community is to support each other. So if you need information about something, share it. And it's all the bigger vision of supporting creative people to live the life that they really want, to make money. Imagine making money from your work. Like, it is doable, you know.
Yeah.
And it's okay to make money as well. It's not the bad, evil thing, even though the art world will shove that down our throats. You're not supposed to make money from your work. Well, no, you're going to make money from our work, aren't we, lads? So on that note, I wish everybody a brilliant ARTSOURCE, and I hope it'll be a huge success, and I hope everyone will enjoy it. The work is done, and now it's time to relax and enjoy the event, gang, and good luck with the packing and unpacking, and thanks so much for taking the time out. I know you guys are super busy. Dean, thanks a million for those.
Thanks so much. And all the best to Miriam.
And Miriam,
well,
yeah. About Miriam does amazing work, and Miriam's stand, let's just what stand is Miriam in at now? I don't have that in front of me, hang on till we see where Miriam is. But Miriam does amazing paper art, like, and even that nearly explanation doesn't do it justice, does it? It's just unbelievable what she does. So Miriam is at stand, I have it here, she's in A27, so another A. So all the Vickies are in together, which is brilliant for the energy. So lads, good luck. I can't wait to see you in person. Thanks again for coming on live, and
thank you.
Enjoy our show. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye.